Hey guys, today's video is not gonna be a normal video. I'm just gonna be putting on some makeup, but it's probably gonna be pretty emotional, so if that's not your thing, then that's totally fine. I'll see you in the next one. So if you follow me on Instagram, then you already know, but in case you don't, I will go ahead and tell you, Elaine is no longer with us. I thought I could get through this, I really did. She passed away last week. And I know you guys knew her from a lot of my videos. She was just a 4-month-old kitten that we'd had since June, and she'd very quickly become a part of the family. We'd only had her for 3 months, and it all happened so suddenly and so unexpectedly, because we thought she was in perfect health, you know, and it happened over the course of 3 days. I really don't want to go into a ton of detail in this video because I just don't know if I can. It's been about a week, but it's just all still really fresh. Basically what I'll tell you is that after just a regular vet appointment, she went in for a couple of her usual shots. She was finally old enough to get her rabies shot, and then it was the rest of the visit, it was just like a regular exam. And shortly after she got home from the vet, she started to really act like she wasn't feeling well. And I thought that she was having a bad reaction to her rabies vaccine because it's a very strong vaccine. It's not uncommon for cats to have somewhat of a reaction to a vaccine. And so this was last Saturday when she had that vet appointment. All through Sunday, she really didn't have much of an appetite, and she was just very lethargic and really not acting like herself. So first thing Monday morning, I called and got her an appointment for later that day, and they basically said that she had a fever of 105, which is really not that, it's not as high for a cat as it is for a human, but it's still a significant fever for a cat. I think a normal temperature for a cat is like 100 to 102.5. They gave her some fluids, some sub-Q fluids, and some kind of shot as like an anti-inflammatory kind of thing. And they pretty much told me it seems like, you know, she's just having an adverse reaction to the vaccine and she should be feeling better soon. And so I brought her home, and throughout the rest of the day Monday and into Tuesday, she's still acting the same, you know, still not feeling well, still just pretty much sleeping all day when normally she is super playful and energetic. And so I was getting worried because it had been already 3 days since she'd had that shot by Tuesday, the rabies shot, and it just seemed like things were not improving. And so I called the vet again, and they were able to see her right away. She was still running a fever of about 105 again. And they give her more fluids, a B12 shot, an antibiotic shot, and they tell me to just monitor her temperature that night and into the next morning. And if her temperature is still high the next morning, they want to see her again first thing in the morning. I bring her home, and she still no better, you know. I'm able to get her to eat like really enticing foods. Like I went to the store and got her some like really good smelling like wet tuna based cat food, and that's the kind that, you know, cats always love and like can't resist. And so I was able to get her to eat some of that, but really not anywhere near what she would normally eat in a day. And this is like 10:30 or 11 o'clock on Tuesday night, and we got worried because she had just come down. She'd been sleeping most of the day on the cat tree that we have in the living room, which is like her favorite place to sleep. And she came down to lay on my lap like she always does, you know. She would always love to come snuggle with us on the couch at night when we're, you know, watching TV, whatever. And so we took her temperature, and it's high, and we noticed that, and Nathan noticed that she her breathing just seemed kind of shallow, and we got worried and called the emergency vet. And we're lucky that we have a really good vet school nearby, and that's where the closest emergency vet is located. And you know, I felt really good about trusting them with her, because they know what they're doing. Like, they're one of the top vet schools in the country. And so we brought her to the emergency vet, and this whole time I'm thinking, you know, it's just, you know, she's gonna get better, like, this is just a reaction to the vaccine. She must just have had a really bad reaction. The vet calls, we have to wait in the car because we can't go in because of COVID. And so we're waiting in the car for, you know, almost an hour. It takes a long time for them to, you know, examine her and everything. And they said her fever was 106, which is getting into dangerous levels, you know. And that she found some fluid in her lower abdomen that was very unusual, and it was like a pocket of fluid that was collected in her lower abdomen below her bladder. And that it could be a number of things, but she needed to get a sample of that fluid to figure out what it was and what was going on. And earlier that day, just hours ago, at her regular vet, they said nothing about fluid in her lower abdomen, you know? And so I was very surprised, and so she basically says that she needs to, you know, probably try to sedate her and get test her white blood cell count and get a sample of that fluid and do some kind of ultrasound to see what's going on. She said she would call us back in the hour once she was able to hopefully get a sample of that fluid. You know, at this point I'm getting really nervous because it sounds like it's really not just a reaction to that vaccine, like I had convinced myself and everyone else seemed convinced that it was. I mean, earlier at the vet they said, like, it seems like it's just a reaction to the vaccine, but if not, then we would just call this like a fever of unknown origin, which at this point that's what it is. And so she calls us about an hour later. It's like 1:30 at this point. She says it's bad news. It's really terrible news, and that it's basically sepsis, or like a septic abdomen, I think is what she called it. And it's really rare, and really the outlook is not good. There was a surgery that they could have done that they would have had to do that night, but she said that the survival rate of that surgery was 50% at best across the board, not just for little kittens, but that this particular vet, thank God, has seen many other animals with this same condition. And so she had a good amount of experience with treating this kind of condition, and she said that for a kitten like Elaine, it was not, she felt like the chance that she would survive was much, much lower than 50%. And it would have been very painful for her, and it could have very well ended in her being on life support, and sometimes they have to go in and break their pelvis to get everything where it needs to be, I guess. And the cost, you know, I mean, it would have been thousands of dollars. And I asked the vet, you know, if money is not an object, do you think that this is worth it? And she said that she would not put her own pet through that. And she felt like the compassionate decision was to have her euthanized, because if we went through with the surgery, it was very likely that in her last days she would be sedated and really suffering in a lot of pain, versus if we had her put down then, at least in her last few days she was comfortable at home with us, and she was still pretty alert, and not in I mean, she was in a lot of pain, but not nearly as bad as it was going to get, more than likely. We had to make a decision very quickly, and we knew that we knew what we had to do. You know, we knew that the right decision was to not put her through something so painful that we felt like if we had chosen to put her through that surgery, we would have been doing it more for ourselves than for her, you know? The vet was so nice. I mean, I'm so thankful, honestly, that she was with that emergency vet versus her regular vet who, you know, I don't know that they would have had the expertise to understand what was going on the way that this vet did, and the vet that she was with seemed so caring and compassionate, and we basically had the option to come there. One of us could go back and hold her, you know, while she was put to sleep, or she actually offered to bring her outside into the parking lot and we could both be there. And so that's what we chose to do. We both held her while she went to sleep, and it was all just such a blur, you know, like just hours before I was so sure, like I was worried about her, and but I was so sure that she was gonna be fine, you know, like I had no idea that this is what was gonna happen. That's the story. It's so one of the absolute hardest things I've ever gone through, and I know some people are probably like, oh, it's just a cat, it's just a cat, like why would you, how is it that difficult to go through something like that? But honestly, I feel sorry for those people, because those are people who never gave themselves the chance to have that kind of a connection with an animal, and it's really truly one of the most special connections you can ever have. And I had never had a kitten before, you know. We'd always adopted adult cats, and there's really a special bond that you develop with a kitten. Watching them grow up. We got her when she was 5 weeks old. 5 weeks old. I mean, she was this big, and it was so much fun to watch her grow up, and I was so excited to see what she was gonna look like when she became full grown, you know, and she was gonna be so beautiful. There's no use in looking back and trying to figure out, you know, what could I have done differently, or what went wrong, and I've really been trying not to feel resentment or anger towards her regular vet. There's nothing they can do to bring her back to us, and I just miss her, you know. I miss her so much, and I was so looking forward to seeing her just blossom into a full-grown adult kitty, and she was so special, you guys. I know we all think that our pets are like the most special pets. There was something really magical about her. I don't know how else to put it, but I felt like she was almost like placed in our lives for a reason at the perfect time, and she got along so well with Heidi and Tala, and they were the best big sisters that she could have had. They were so patient with her. They were never territorial with her. They would let her tackle them, and they loved it. They loved every minute of, I mean, they helped raise her, you know? So much of who she was growing up to be was influenced by them. And she was so cuddly, just the most cuddly kitten. Every morning she would come in, if she wasn't already sleeping in the bed, she would come in around like 5 in the morning and just cuddle up and lay on my neck. I don't know why she chose my neck, but it was just the best spot for her, and sometimes she would like make biscuits on my neck and on my face, and I loved it, you know. It was our little routine, and then a few hours later Tala would normally come in around, you know, it's like 7:30, and then Elaine would go into play mode and she would tackle Tala, and they would just be tumbling around on the floor together. She absolutely lived for kisses. She would just come up to us and like put her little head up and like wait for a kiss. And I remember one time when she was really little, it was within like the first week that we had her, and she was still staying in the little bathroom in this room. She was sort of standing on Nathan's lap, and he was, you know, loving on her and everything, and I was standing just like probably less than 2 feet away at the door. It's a very small bathroom. And she started acting like she wanted to come over to me. And before I could even, you know, do anything, she jumped into my arms. And it's a good thing I caught her. We think that she wanted a kiss so bad from me that she just leapt into my arms from his lap. And it was just the cutest thing. And if that doesn't just show you how determined this little kitten was. I don't know if you guys remember, but the first like few weeks that we had her, she was staying in this room because the vet said it wasn't quite safe yet to have her intermingle with the other 2 cats. So she was pretty much staying in here for almost the first month. And anytime I'd be in here filming a video, you would see her pop up on this chair at least once. She had her little things and her little routines. She was so, so beautiful. Her eyes were like 5 different colors. And I think the kind of important thing that I took away from all this is to not take for granted those little moments that you have with your loved ones, whether it's your pets or your family or your friends. Those little moments of magic, like don't just overlook them. Don't be too busy with your work, checking your phone, or, you know, there's so many times I'm sure when, you know, Elaine would be playing and I'd be like, oh, you know, I'll come play with her in just a minute. I just need to, you know, finish checking my email or finish editing this video. And, you know, I'm always so worried about my upload schedule, and I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta, you know, I have so much to do. And none of that really matters. You know, at the end of the day, none of that matters. And every now and then something like this happens that kind of puts that into perspective. And, you know, you kind of put it into practice, just like living mindfully and intentionally and making time for the things that really matter in life. You start doing that for, you know, a month or 2 months, and then you just go right back to your old ways of being busy all the time and feeling like you have to constantly be productive. And the thing that I want to remember to really kind of keep Elaine's spirit alive in here is to not miss those moments of the other cats like playing or snuggling with us. Like, take a minute and just soak it in. You know, it might seem like an everyday moment, but you don't know when all of that's going to be taken from you. You don't know. You can't predict it. You can't control it. There's so much in our lives that we can't control. As much as we want to think we can, we can't. I mean, life is so cruel. And so you can't just let all those little happy moments pass you by. But I don't want to believe that Elaine is just gone forever, you know, like that she was here 1 minute and then she went away the next. I mean, she was so alive and so vibrant, and even till the last few moments she was so alert, even though she was in a lot of pain. And I don't want to believe that she's just gone now, that she just vanished. You know, I can't believe that. And what I'm choosing to believe right now is that her spirit is out there somewhere, and that she's gonna find us again someday, somehow, you know. But we can't go looking for that, you know. She's gonna find us the same way that she found us the first time, because I can't believe that's it for her, you know. She brought us so much, and the fact that we only had her for 3 months absolutely blows my mind, because she filled the apartment with her just silliness and her sweetness, and she immediately trusted us to care for her, and she was just so herself. And that's the thing I love about animals, is that they never feel the need to be anything other than themselves. When you're grieving and when you're missing someone, you can't just go and try to fill that hole. You can't just replace that with another cat. Part of loving is losing. No matter how long you get to have the people or the animals that you love, you will eventually lose them. And I feel like a very lucky person to have had the chance to love Elaine at all. And, you know, it's so painful to go through this, and you might even feel like, you know, what's the point? What's the point of falling in love with an animal if you're just gonna lose them someday? And to me, it's worth it. If I went back 3 months and knew that all of this was gonna happen 3 months later, it was worth it. I would do it all again. It was so worth it to have her, and to think that some people never, and this isn't me looking down on other people who don't get it, but some people go their whole lives never having this kind of attachment to anyone, you know? Some people never experience the love of an animal. Some people never experience the love of another human. And people are conditioned to close themselves off from ever feeling things. And I never want to live that way. I would rather experience the whole range of emotion, the whole complete human experience, where you get to experience this amazing feeling of loving someone and also losing them. And that's just part of it. As awful as it is, it's part of it, and it really makes you appreciate what you have and not take those special moments for granted. This is kind of just the everyday look that I've been going for lately. It's really nothing special at all. I don't even know if this eyeshadow is blended. This is mostly my Project Pan items. Yeah, that's most of what I used. I'll have everything listed down below in case you're wondering what I'm using. Not that this look is anything that interesting. The other two cats have been okay. I think they know what's going on, especially Tala. Tala is so smart and intuitive that she seemed to understand as soon as, you know, the next day, really. She's been so much more cuddly and also so much more playful than usual, which almost, you know, those are almost qualities of Elaine, you know, like as if she's trying to fill that role for us, or maybe she's trying to just cheer us up. But Heidi also, it was so heartbreaking to see the next night. You know, Heidi and Elaine had this routine where they would chase each other around at night. Anytime Heidi would scratch one of the scratching posts on their big tree, on their cat tree, Elaine would chase after her, and then they'd just go running around the whole apartment. It was so cute. The night after Elaine passed away, Heidi did that, where she was scratching the tree, and she was looking, she kind of started looking around, you know, kind of waiting for Elaine to chase after her, and she wasn't there. And, you know, Heidi's almost like a little kid in a lot of ways. Like, it's so hard to see her just not understanding what's going on, and I just wish we could talk to them and tell them everything. It's just everywhere I look, you know, something reminds me of her. Like in here, she's got her little crinkly tunnel that she loved to run through, her little toy where it has like these balls that kind of run all along the circumference of it's like a pyramid kind of thing, and you can like bat the balls around and they just like spin around. She loved that. I mean, this was her room for the first month or so that we had her, and we would come in here and she would get so excited to see us. Her little head would be like shaking like this because she was so excited. She would always just be so happy to see us, and oh my gosh, she was just the most loving cat. Like, she would never hurt anyone. I could not imagine her ever getting angry, or, I mean, she was pure love and pure sweetness, and I almost can't even believe that she existed. Like, she was just so incredibly perfect, and I hope that I get to have her again someday in some way, you know. But in a lot of ways, there's a lot of her in Heidi and Tala. Like, sometimes we would joke that it was as if Heidi and Tala had 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 a baby and that was Elaine, like, because she had characteristics of both of them, even down to her coloring. She was a tortie and she had, you could make out like an orange tabby pattern, but then she had this kind of like black veil over that, and when it was in the light you could see it was just the most beautiful coloring, and it really was almost like a combination of Heidi and Tala's patterns. And she even had characteristics of both of their personalities, and I'm sure part of that did come from her basically being raised by them for, you know, her first few months of life. They were her role models. I'm sorry, I've just been talking about her, but I feel like this is kind of what I need to do. I almost don't want time to keep going on because I don't want to forget all these little things, like what it felt like to have her here, and, you know, to wake up to her little paws walking on me and just little things like that. It's like I almost don't want time to keep going on because I know the more time goes on, the more it's all just gonna feel more like a distant memory. And I ended up just using the CoverGirl Clump Crusher Mascara. It's a very, honestly, underwhelming mascara to me. It's a very natural lash look, but this is honestly what I've been going for. I've been trying to put on makeup just to kind of make myself feel a little bit better, because it really, makeup is kind of like a self-care thing for me, and this, I know I'm not gonna just cry this off, or if I do, it's not a big deal because it's so light to begin with. It's honestly not bad for just like an everyday makeup look if you don't necessarily want dramatic lashes. Okay, so yeah, the lip combo, this is what I've been doing a lot, is just this Jordana Rock and Rose lip liner with my Red Apple Beachside lipstick. This is the one that's in my project pan, but it's just a good kind of basic nude combo, and it's a nice like almost brownish nude, but not too brown, you know, not too dark brown. I guess that's about all I have to say. Thank you for watching. I know a lot of you guys really loved Elaine, and I appreciate all your kind words. I know, I don't know if I've gotten back to every single message and things like that, but I really appreciate all of you and all of your kind words and your understanding. I know a lot of you have gone through similar things, and yeah, so as far as getting back into my normal filming routine, I would like to try to get back to my normal, you know, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule. Bear with me as I try to get back into it, but uploads might be, you know, not necessarily on the same day that I always upload, or they might be a little bit more sporadic, but I will get back to my normal routine. As much as it pains me to like miss uploads or not upload when I normally do, because that's the kind of person I am. Right now I'm just kind of trying to take the time that I need to process all of this, and I'm not very good at faking things. Like I can't just get on camera and pretend to be all happy in my normal self when I'm not. So I will be back soon with normal videos, but I thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye.